the broadcast, I'm also joined by Professor Madhav Nalapat. He's a geopolitical expert. Professor Nalapat, good evening. Namaskar. Thank you very much for joining us on Mirror Now. I want to understand from you, Professor Nalapat, how does this really move between the two countries? Allegation after allegation against India, in all probability to save his own face domestically and the kind of challenges that he faces. But how should India be moving forward with this latest allegation that has come in from the Canadian government?
Look, let me tell you very clearly, we are in the age of a new Cold War, Cold War 2.0. Which is basically China versus the democracies. And unfortunately, you have a situation where many people in North America and across the Atlantic are still stuck in Cold War 1.0 with the Soviet Union, which is long gone. And they have forgotten that the threat posed by China during Cold War 2.0, this is what I mean, Cold War 2.0. The threat posed by China is way more dangerous than the threat ever posed by the Soviet Union, which was a bureaucratically incompetent power and much less effective than the CCP, much smaller in economic size than the CCP. So this is Justin Trudeau, frankly, willingly or not, is playing the Chinese game. Previously, what happened was India was, in the past, conflict equated with Pakistan. You had a multi-religious India, you had a uni-religious Pakistan, basically Sunnis, even Shia were basically under threat there. And you can, India and Pakistan. Now that's become so ridiculous, even the people who had cling on to it, they've started dropping off. Now it's India and China. That's the new mantra. You have democratic India, where the government has lost a huge number of seats in the 2024 election. The very 2024 election where the Canadian government and others said, this is not a democracy. People, if you look at their social media posts of some of the people, ministers and all that in the Canadian government, and some of Trudeau's nasty comments, you will see that they don't believe it's a democracy. So the fact is, to 2024, of course, fortunately, Prime Minister Modi came back, showed that India is a democracy. And you're always comparing China under authoritarian power, under a completely dictatorial party with a democratic country like India, which has just had its elections. So Justin Trudeau always equates India with China. Always.
Professor Nalapat, what's ironic is the fact that Canada keeps accusing India of interfering in its internal affairs and its democratic processes, but on its own soil, it has Khalistani elements, it has Khalistani supporters. For all we know, we should be the ones telling them that you're supporting anti-India elements. We should be the ones accusing them of that instead of them accusing us without any solid evidence.
Look, let's not take Justin Trudeau seriously. Frankly, the man acts a bit clownish. And may I point out, it's not only Justin Trudeau, it's big brother to the south, the United States. You have people like Biden and Blinken and others blinking their eyes. I mean, I don't know about Biden, but Blinken certainly. And talking, and basically supporting a known terror facilitator who has collected money and sent it to terror groups. And that money is trackable and traceable, and I'm sure available in US agencies. You're protecting a known terrorist who's responsible for several deaths and killings in India. And you're protecting them. And so Justin Trudeau, the little brother to the north, is basically doing likewise. I'm sorry to say Joe Biden has been a big disappointment to India. But the fact is that this is being realized by voters and most likely Donald Trump, whom, by the way, Prime Minister Modi is going to meet on his visit to the United States in a few days' time, is probably going to be a next president who is much less, if I may say so, influenced by the Sino-Wahhabi lobby. The problem is, very frankly, that, Trudeau has been spouting the Chinese line all along. And the Chinese line is, through their proxies. And many of the proxies, nobody knows that they're Chinese. India, China, India, China, India, China. Previously, it was Pakistan, India, Pakistan, India, Pakistan, India. Now it's India, China, India, China, India, China. For God's sake.
And therefore, Professor
they're a
Nalapat,
democracy.
do you think there can be a headway in the Indo-Canada relationship? It is at its lowest currently as we speak. Do you think any sort of long-term resolution or headway being made in this relationship now?
Look, Canada is a wonderful country. I've been there. The people are wonderful. And frankly, I think that as soon as they get rid of Trudeau's government, which, by the way, depended on a known facilitator of terrorism, a minister whose associates funnel money to terror groups directly active in India. And this can be, I'm sure the Canadian Secret Services know that. For some reason, probably connected to very high levels in Canada, they're keeping that information secret and protecting him. But the fact of the matter is that so long as Justin Trudeau is basically acting like a useful idiot for the Chinese Communist Party leadership, namely Xi Jinping, so long as Justin Trudeau is behaving like a useful idiot of the Chinese, the way I can say some American officials in the Biden administration are behaving, I don't see any future for India-Canada relations. I simply hope that the Conservative Party realizes the China threat and understands that we are, as I repeat, in the era of Cold War 2.0, not 1.0 with Russia, but 2.0 with China. And the sooner that the Western people realize that, the sooner they understand that India and the United States have to come together to ensure that there's a free and open Indo-Pacific. I'm happy to say that's happening. Youth Abhyas has taken place as we speak. Next month is the Malabar exercises of the Quad. So we are gearing up. The Defense Department of the United States is not the State Department, thank God. They're realistic. They understand why India is important for the security of the Indo-Pacific and why, the India and the United States, Australia and Japan should work together. Justin Trudeau doesn't get it. I mean, I'm not blaming him for being a Chinese agent or taking money from the Chinese. But the fact is, the man is spouting the rubbish that China wants him to spout, which is always throwing mud at India and comparing, and daring to compare India with China, which Xi Jinping got a third term. How? He ramrodded his way to a third term. Prime Minister Modi got a third term. He got just 20 seats more than the 220 seats, which Rahul Gandhi said is needed to bring down Modi. He got only 240 seats. Why? Because we are a democracy. And
so we will, of course, have to see, Professor Nalapat, how the relationship between India and Canada now moves forward amid these kind of allegations coming to the fore. We'll leave it there, Professor Madhav Nalapat. Thank you very much for joining us on Mirror Now tonight and sharing your perspective on this entire issue. Thank you very much.